Mozart wasn't just any ordinary kid. He was the original child prodigy, born in 1756 in Salzburg, Austria. While most kids his age were busy playing with toys and trying to stay out of trouble, Mozart was already mastering the harpsichord and composing music that would leave grown adults in awe. By the tender age of 5, he was writing his own pieces. Imagine having that one overachieving cousin who's already got a degree, a perfect job, and runs marathons for fun. Now, picture them at 5 years old, composing symphonies. Yeah, that was Mozart. His father, Leopold, quickly caught on to the fact that his son was something special. And when you've got a child prodigy in the family, what do? You turn him into a European sensation, of course. Leopold basically became Mozart's tour manager, dragging little Wolfgang and his equally talented sister Nannerl all over Europe to perform for royalty, nobility, and anyone with a fat enough wallet to pay for the show. Mozart was the 18th century equivalent of a pop star, minus the social media. By the time he was a teenager, he had already written symphonies, operas, and concertos, and he didn't just dabble in one genre. Oh no, that would have been too easy. Mozart decided to master them all. At the age of 11, he wrote a full-scale opera. Mozart had this uncanny ability to compose entire pieces in his head without ever touching a piano. That's like writing a novel without a pen or paper, just straight from brain to masterpiece. He was so fast at composing that his first drafts were often the final ones with barely any corrections. As Mozart grew older, he moved to Vienna, the musical capital of the world at the time, where he really hit his stride. Vienna was like the big leagues for musicians, and Mozart wasn't about to miss his shot. He churned out some of his most famous works during this time, including The Marriage of Figaro, Don Giovanni, and The Magic Flute. Mozart was mixing complex characters, intricate plots, and of course, his signature mind-blowing music. If Mozart were alive today, he'd probably be that guy who drops a chart-topping album every year just because he can. But here's the kicker. Despite being a musical genius, Mozart was terrible with money. He spent it as fast as he made it, often living way beyond his means. Mozart had a quirky sense of humor and loved pranks. He wasn't just all serious compositions and intense musical theory. He'd write funny, sometimes downright ridiculous lyrics to accompany his compositions. He even wrote a piece called Leck mich im Arsch, which, let's just say, doesn't exactly translate to something you'd expect from a classical composer. Despite his genius and his massive influence on the music world, life wasn't always smooth sailing for Mozart. He struggled with debt, and his health wasn't great either. By 1791, at just 35 years old, Mozart was seriously ill, but he kept working until the very end. His final piece, Requiem, was left unfinished when he died, adding to the legend that surrounds his life. Some say he even thought he was composing it for himself. Epic story. So what's Mozart's legacy? He's considered one of the greatest composers of all time, influencing countless musicians and shaping the course of Western music. Even today, his music is everywhere, from symphony halls to movie soundtracks. Mozart was the ultimate proof that genius doesn't always come with an easy life, but it sure leaves a lasting impression. His compositions have stood the test of time, and his name is practically synonymous with classical music. If there's one thing Mozart showed the world, it's that true talent never fades, even if the person behind it does.